Oh, that is not what we want. Cool. So YouTube is on and rolling. So we'll wait for people to pop into the chats from there. But I saw we got some questions rolling in. So, Emma, what about electrolytes? That is why I like medicinal mushrooms because there are a decent amount of minerals in there and immune factors and things like that too. So, I will always be taking a medicinal mushroom and I'll rotate them. So, like today, I did a bunch of lion's mane. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to do some shaga, mix some things up, keep things rotating. Um, but those are kind of the two that I've been working on for a while. Rohith already popping into the YouTube chats saying he was wondering about us. We were over on Facebook for about an hour there. So actually, I've been waiting for the verification to pop up here on TikTok. So it's been a while. Um, but hello to the people popping in on YouTube. How you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. We're gonna get a new or a third device very soon. So we'll be on all three soon enough. That way we don't leave our Facebook friends at home. That platform for me has been going crazy good. I've been getting like thousands of followers every week. So, or about half a thousand followers a week over there. So pretty crazy. I'm almost going to pass YouTube up over like the last year of work I've done over on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed over there already, let's do it. Let's do it. But yes, electrolytes are fantastic. I think a lot of people are deficient in those things. And a lot of that has to do with daily stressors that we're interacting with. Mental stress alone, physical stress, holy crap, working. That's going to do a lot of people in. Even something like your phone, that'll deplete magnesium a ton. Um, and it's kind of a hidden toxin. I think that's the biggest hidden toxin today. So get your medicinal mushroom going. Get a nice electrolyte powder. I like using like an Ultima powder or just straight up Celtic sea salt. But yeah. And then Joycey can't stay asleep. Oh my goodness. So there can be a few things going on here. I would wonder how late you're eating. Number one, you don't want to be eating 3, 4 hours before bed. That's a hard and fast rule for everybody. Also depends on. Sorry there. Had to resume us back in. Um, but yes, for going to bed, get your phone off too. Get your phone off 2 hours before bed. If you're really not going to do that, it is definitely worth getting a pair of blue light glasses. But protective EMF devices you can do, blue light glasses you can do. I highly value taking in a fatty based thing before, like an hour before bed. Olive oil, cacao butter, something that's a fatty substance. That way, you can impact some of the cortisol signaling or glucose signaling that goes on late in the night, and that'll impact cortisol as well. So, um, maybe that's something that's going on. Could be. Can you do some? I wouldn't want you doing melatonin at this stage, but I would like you to do something like alcidonia, and that's something I mention a lot, and valerian. So alcidonia and valerian, beautiful, and those will probably keep you going, sleep the whole night. But it depends on what's going on. There can be some adrenal involvement. I'd be curious if you're perimenopausal or menopausal there. If there's any autoimmunity. Yeah. Is there a permanent mental health facility? What what's going on? M4K, how you doing? Siang says hello. We got hellos from the Philippines. Look at you guys popping in there, saying hi. Are you real? Yes, I am real. Joycey says thank you. Yes, some Alcidonia, some valerian root. You'll do well. The link is in bio there. But what's up, YouTube? How you guys doing? See everybody popping in there. Doing much more on and popping than the Facebook one already. Specialty, all things natural health here. So I'm a chiropractor, got my own health restoration clinic here, focusing on mental, chemical, physical stress and how that impacts homeostasis and our ability to adapt to our stressors in life. And really, mental, chemical, physical stress is the only forms of stressors you can come into contact with. We can kind of dive into each of those if needed, but they are going to lead to inflammatory responses, and those responses create deficiencies or will leave you with excess or toxicity in there. So, that is mainly my focus here. I love doing labs to figure out why this is happening for a lot of individuals because there's more than one causal factor. There's many causal factors. How am I doing? I'm doing well, Steve. And Ludwig, I have Baja Gold sea salt. Oh my goodness, beautiful stuff. That Baja Gold, um, top tier salt. But yes, doing all things natural here. And my arsenal or my toolbox is really utilizing the labs and the symptomatology of the individual to put a full story together there, like blood work, stool testing, urine, saliva, different things that can go on. But yeah, I think the immune system is way overlooked, along with the nervous system too, because those are the two primary systems. So if you constantly have a battle going on with those systems, you're in for a ride, you know. But hello, how can you help a person who struggles with insomnia? There's a lot that can occur here. I think, serotonin involvement, melatonin involvement, screen time, late night eating, circadian rhythm, all things to look out for there. Because there are light patterns that you want to correct, things like that. People that are just looking for a quick and easy thing that they could take, you could do some Alcidonia, you can do some valerian root, like I talked about just before you popped in there. Those two are fantastic for GABA reception, for calming down the brain. Um, a lot of things that occur there. But, for some of the other tricks and things, blue light glasses, EMF blockers, um, or not blockers, but, you know, harmonizers. Um, don't eat 3 4 hours before bed. Taking in a fatty substance, like a teaspoon of an oil or a cacao butter disc, an hour before bed, doing some Alcidonia, some valerian root can help a lot with glycemic regulation, cortisol things, but your liver is going to be working a lot through the middle of the night too. So if, um, you know, it depends on the time that you're waking up, how frequent that is, airway involvement. There can be some mechanical things that go on there. Give us more details, please. Anyways, but yes, is this an AI? What the? Is that also good instead of Celtic? I think those two are the top tier. Top tier, man. For Miss Lud or Mr. Ludwig, whatever it is. Yeah, Baja Gold, Celtic, great brands. Fantastic. Fantastic. When it comes to the salt game. So sorry for the tapping. This is an AI. I've been dealing with anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia. My doc has put me on so many meds. Nothing has worked. My heartbeat will go so fast. It's so scary. I don't know what to do. So for Steve, there's a couple things that can be occurring here. Um, Mental stress is a huge thing, but it involves the adrenals, it involves the GI tract, some nervous system involvement, and sometimes even immune factors there too. So if it's a long-standing thing that's gone on, I would like to look into the GI or microbial things that go on because that's where a lot of the neurotransmitter production is going to be and lie and stay there and create all these things for you. So that's why it's such a huge thing. Um, can you do some California poppy in the meantime? Some kava could probably do you really well. Those are two liquid herbs that will help a lot with catecholamines. So uh, excess adrenal hormones that get pumped out that are extremely stressful. Things like epinephrine, adrenaline. and that will speed up your heartbeat really quickly. So it'll help in some ways with that, but it can be some deficiencies that can occur here, electrolyte things that go on. I think potassium is a huge deficiency, and I would wonder if there's any interaction with any of the meds that you're doing that involve potassium channels. Um, if not, then maybe magnesium channels. If not, then maybe excitatory things. But I would be curious as to the mechanism of action and things like that. But yeah, California Poppy, Kava, good start. Link in bio there. But schedule a free complimentary call as well through my channel if you're on YouTube there. And that'll take to my website. That'll be highlighted in the channel. And I do free complimentary calls all the time. I keep saying free complimentary, but complimentary calls. So, yes. Um, but insomnia, big one. People mention that a lot on here. And I think mineral deficiency is a big part. And then, like I said, the disruption in the GI, all the excitatory things that go on. Um, Cortisol maxing. Heck no. I'm cortisol opposite of cortisol maxing. I do these things on a daily basis. So, so for the guy on here commenting a bunch of meds, I don't think you saw him do that first place because he's been seeing a doc for several years on this. So, sorry, buddy. The GI, you're not reading your own research. Medical research outlines the involvement with neurotransmitters highly, 90% of your serotonin comes from the GI. So that's pretty ignorant to say there. Sorry for the ignorance, I guess, that you have there. But yeah, you do really want to rebuild the GI because that is where those reserves come from. And pairing that with some insomnia type issues, heart issues, maybe even trouble sleeping at night, that makes complete sense and something I've seen repeatedly over and over with patients, and especially patients that have been to all the specialists and not had any results for decades. So, very ignorant to say. And frustrating here too because it's absolutely crazy to me that this is like foreign knowledge to the majority of people, but I guess we're just all misinformed here. Anyways, you make a lot of sense. Thank you. Yeah, right. It does. It does, man. My girlfriend. What the? But yes, not cortisol maxing. Not at all. I mean, I do L-theanine, poppy, kava. I rotate those regularly. Chamomile, things like that. Things that'll help with that. But yeah, when you get inflammation down and things to support your brain and your adrenals and get mental stress down, you can think really quick. So a lot of the times I am just rambling through some answers on here because I study this stuff every day, at least 2 hours a day to give to you guys. So pretty cool. Stream is about health question and answers. I usually put the title of this stream in here, but cortisol maxing most likely not very good for PCOS. 100% true because that'll impact hormone production and conversion, especially in females there. But yeah, if you're holding on to some androgens, it is an insulin dependent issue. Some of that can come from the mental stress that goes on. I think a good, routine, at least not having any labs on you, would be white peony, gymnema, and L-theanine. That way you get the conversion of testosterone or any of the androgenic hormones converted down into the estrogens. And yes, I said estrogens, plural, but white peony. That's the number one um, plant plant medicine that's going to basically increase that conversion down. But then again, working on the insulin factor with gymnema and combating some of the um, cortisol issues that can go on, and even adrenal issues that can go on and inhibit some of the conversion steps there. And maybe overproducing some things, leading to some androgenic holding in the first place. So, gymnema, white peony, do some L-theanine for Miss Luna here. And I would want to get a blood patch test on you to look at some of those hormones in the system, along with the Dutch test so that we can see production and conversion of those different things. Um, and you'll do very well. So, Bubble Burster in Chief, what's your qualifications? Read the title of the live, please. What do you think about ivermectin? I think that is this for that approach that's just been put out there. There are parasitic issues that can go on. I think that there's a lot of crossover. And Luna, definitely ask your question. I see you're holding on to something there. Ask your question away. I'm going to do things in a rapid fire fashion. So if questions aren't coming through as frequently, I will slow down and park on something and go deep into it. But like the ivermectin topic right here, yeah, I mean, that's going to work on some microbial things that go on, but it doesn't tell you what's going on from a fungal perspective, bacterial, parasitic issue. That should be revealed with testing. I think that is the best thing to do in the world, um, because then you know how to approach your body specifically. So it's kind of crazy to me to just take things willy nilly, especially when people have a serious issue going on. Not taking shots at you, Steve. Just saying. I've heard this a lot. But there are answers there, and it can interact with a lot of things microbially. So a lot of people will see a benefit there, but not get a full idea as to how to rebuild things and get rid of it completely. So yeah, I heard that folic acid is not advised for ADHD, women for fertility. Yeah, I would not touch that with a 10-foot pole. You would want to do some methylated B12 and B9, which is different, which can help you a lot because you're going to get rid of some excess there. But that's not going to help with aromatase conversion because it can't be converted well. 100%. Luna, you have done your homework, my friend. Anyways, yeah, definitely. Losing fat, gaining some muscle there can be good. But usually it's the gym goers and the gym women that have PCOS in the first place, because they will consume a lot of sugars with that workout process, especially like the resistance training or the strength. Sarah Safari, perfect example. Guaranteed has cycle issues. Um, and you'll see that change with the breast tissue. Um, Breast tissue will shrink. A lot of fat tissue will shrink. Ovulation will be disrupted. You'll ovulate cysts. Issues with insulin handling. So when you build a bunch of muscle and things, you can have some issues with androgens, and building up there and not converting down. So folate and B12 are two totally different things, though. Yes, they are. They are two totally different things. B12 and B9. So, but I'm just talking for the best constituents. And if you're trying to get excess hormonal conversions out of the system, out of the liver, that last step of methyl groups that you need is both from B12 and B9. So that's why I said that. I hate being, anyways, clavicular question mark? No, not clavicular. Definitely not. We're not in Miami here. I have seen those clips though. It's kind of funny. Why do serious? All right. Um, Happy Valentine's Day. Happy late Valentine's Day. I mean, we started with our chocolate article today. I'm 64. Okay, Joycey, this gives us a lot more context. With osteopenia, vitamin D3 and a lot more K2 than you normally would, so that you can get a lot of calcium resorption into bone. You can pull a lot of calcium there. Um, I do like seeing some magnesium use while you're doing some of the vitamin D and things there, just to get better absorption and utilization of things. Bone broth protein, though, way overlooked. Something like astragalus, high protein meals, weight training, weight bearing training. Um, Obviously walking, things like that. You can work up from there, but maybe even promoting some stomach acid and things there so that you can get more breakdown of the proteins and things. But yeah, I think that there's more to your whole complex in story there since we learned a little bit about, I think it was the sleep issues from earlier. So I don't see Nas here either. I know. Lena also has a question. Fire away, people. Why do we say I have a question and then not tell me the question? Thank you. You're welcome, Joyce. Joyce C. Sorry. But yeah, schedule a free call there and two. I know I go kind of fast on here, so we can slow it down and hand a blueprint to you, which is what I like to do. But all right, how much battery do we have? Not much for some reason. What's up's taking preparing for IVF? Whew, I would want to see your labs there because that's going to be a little bit different for everybody. Obviously, you want to make sure progesterone's signaling up and doing the right things, but maybe some chase tree. Aside from that, I have no idea. Ooh, I have adenomyosis. Okay. I don't do things through diagnoses. It doesn't really make sense to do that. It is figuring out why you have adenomyosis, which is a very much like an autoimmune issue, very similar to endometriosis, things like that, but even more aggressive than endometriosis. I think iodine is highly missed. Whenever you're doing something like iodine, you do need to do some selenium in there. But yeah, some chase tree would help calm down some T helper cell responses in there. I would like to look at LH signaling. I would like to look at your insulin, how well ovulation goes, and even if ovulation timing as well, because that could be the very reason that you're infertile in the first place, is that your brain signaling is off, maybe from long term birth control use, which I see a lot. Hormones will get bottlenecked in the androgens there, and we got to flush them out, but there's some thing going on there too. ADHD, 80 times higher risk for adenomyosis. Okay. Um, Again, diagnoses really don't tell me much at all there. Um, I would want to look into the GI. That's again where a lot of the neurotransmitters make a lot of sense there. And if there is the uh, immune system issue with the adenomyosis, then there's probably something going on in the GI, especially with the ADHD stuff going on. And that is what is leading to an autoimmune response. And that is what is leading to some of the infertility there. So I would save $200,000 and book a free complimentary call. And or I don't think IVF is 200 grand, but it is very expensive, and we could do that for a extreme fraction of that. Um, but good question though. All good questions. Okay, cool beans. Can you change your metabolism? You certainly can. Can you change your total daily energy expenditure? Yes. Will you have kind of a baseline that we need to figure out? You will. But getting muscle um, muscle mass higher, generally you're going to have more thermogenic effects throughout a 24-hour period. So building some muscle, eating higher proteins, getting fiber up, promoting some thyroid function there, some liver function there, maybe even doing a thyroid glandular, something like coleus, um, even a little bit of Sasandra can help there too. So just things that are going to support your liver and the conversion of fats down. Um, but yeah, there's 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 a lot that can be tied in, even hormonally. Hormonally, from a GI perspective, how much signaling we have there. Skinny people don't have much muscle and they have a fast metabolism. You never said you were skinny. Um, so you said, can you change your metabolism? That was the question. If it's a little bit quick, yes, you can still change it. That would definitely rely around caloric intake and some of the things that go on with organ functionality and even um, thyroid function there too. Some things that can go on hormonally with excitation. But yeah, you can type in doc. Look at the title of the live, please. Okay, so we've been going for a good chunk of time here, and I'm probably gonna cut us off there for today. Um, just because I'm getting hungry. I haven't eaten much today. I've just been doing protein shakes and things. So, is it true? Okay, Luna has one more. Is it true that people with hypermobility EDS have higher salt intake due to lower vascular pressure? I think that there's more to do in terms of minerals there with copper than anything, um, especially if you used copper IUD in the past for all the infertility things that went on, because that is like the number one reason for Ehlers-Danlos is issues with copper. So yes, but can there be other issues with mineral imbalances? There can be, but yeah. What do you think of black seed oil and oregano oil? It depends on the use cases for them, but they can be good anti-inflammatory things or antifungal things. It depends on why we're using them, though. Is Hawthorne safe as a supplement? I'm getting mixed answers. It depends on the use case. It depends on what's going on, guys. You got to give me more context here. You guys go, my head hurts. And I'm like, dude, there's so much that could occur here. Um, but yeah, I think Hawthorne can be great. It can be great, especially for stress things, blood pressure, things like that. I would want you doing it in liquid form, though. I'd be not like, I would be cautious only because you're going to kind of waste your money if you're getting a powderized form of that. But you do want all herbs in a liquid form. So you just get 10 times the amount of benefit. But good question, honestly. All right. I am probably going to cut us off there for the day. Thanks from Germany. You're very welcome. Very welcome. We'll be back maybe tonight, definitely tomorrow. I'll try and squeeze one more in tonight, but we'll see how it goes. But yes, for the people, doesn't matter if you're in the US or not, you can schedule complimentary calls. I will make a Teams meeting if we're not in the US here, um, and we can talk things through. Obviously, first call is free. Book those. If I covered your questions and you want to snag things from the online store, those are all in my channel link there, or link in bio, whatever the people say. But yeah, good chatting with you guys, and we'll be back either later tonight or tomorrow. Peace.